They still lose in the end. They find that Spectre kill. Great. You lost way too much in exchange. I think they've got to really think about how their engagements go. They threw the black hole pretty early. They had to throw it out without catching the ideal heroes that do have ways of interrupting that. We mentioned that would be an issue. And the thing for RR is perhaps to wait out for something like a blink to come out, although nice. They still lose in the end. They find that Spectre kill. Great. You lost way too much in exchange. I think they've got to really think about how their engagements go. They threw the black hole pretty early. They had to throw it out without catching.
And BKB, respectively on the OD and Troll, but they still fought without. Except they waited for Static Storm to come up first, which you could really kind of make the argument, like, why wouldn't you have done it while the Static Storm was down? Maybe they didn't have the opportunity, maybe they didn't find what they wanted, but I suppose if you didn't, you'd rather just wait for at least the BKB on Drew. In fact, speaking of, he does get jumped, Hustler is going to charge in onto the Timbersaw, but that is not the target you can really afford to try and take down. And FBZ is just going to stand his ground, go after that bot T1 tower, and easily take it.
You've got a lot of items coming out now for Boom from that down period as well. RR kind of missing out in that window of opportunity now. You've got the Halberd up on FBZ, so your Troll and your OD aren't going to be as scary, not at least until the BKB start flying out, but even then he can preemptively cast that, so it's still going to be an issue for either hero on RR side. You've got the Radiance up in Dream Whistle. He didn't have that in the last fight, and we thought that we're going to wait on the Haunt until it's up. Well, Haunt's back up, Radiance is up. I think Boom is going to be looking to force the issue out now.
I mean, I can't disagree with that. They definitely could. Dreamstar won't mind. I mean, he's just freely farming. Drew, he does finally get the BKB up, however. So now, RR, they do smoke up. Now this, I think, is the right way to play it. RR, they're going to start moving in. Makoto may break the smoke. Hustler, can you get a charge off in time? He doesn't see Makoto. Instead, they go onto Hyde, but he snowballs. They do get a courier from Makoto, which is nice. They find Hyde. It's not going to be the real priority target they would have loved to find in that situation, but Hustler's still chasing. If he gets Makoto, it would be huge. They do scan out. It will not really get vision on Makoto, but it looks like they have found, Nuts actually getting caught out on the Shadow Demon. He was trying to scout ahead. Now Hustler moves in, Alacrity also there. Hustler, who are you charging? He'll go after the drop the first. Try to get rid of that Static Storm, but they ignored him. Now Hustler falling low on the Haunt does come in from the Spectre. They do lose Hustler. Haunted, in Static Storm, all being thrown onto the OD. Alacrity does die. K1 he has Black Hole, but he has no health around. He may commit it anyway, and he does. With the Midnight Pulse, High casts it immediately, and now Nuts, he'll go down as well. It's the dieback on the Shadow Demon. And this is not good news, and Kezcute, he is very, very happy. Ecstatic, to quote him specifically.
It's just Boom finding all the ways to turn that rotation around on RR. You saw that smoke, they killed Hyde off immediately, they kept trying to chase a very slippery Void Spirit in Kato. And they were really trying to make something happen with that BKB in that entire fight. Drew didn't have the opportunity to even pop it. He has his BKB they tried to fight with, doesn't use it, give a lot of kills to the way of Boom, and Boom just managed to go straight to the Roche.
Why not? You know it's a pretty Roche. It's a huge win for Boom. They now have that 5k net worth lead to Boom. And while this Roshan's going on, RR just can't capitalize in any way. All they can do is farm this triangle area. And Boom, they will just continue to take everything off the map. You look at Makoto, Orchid Yule's up, top of the net worth board. He is followed by Drew, but you saw that last team fight. Unless Drew's teammates can connect everything, it doesn't matter. In fact, Makoto, Adrian, and onto Drew. They're going to make the chase now. Hustler, unfortunately, the charge doesn't matter. Nether Strike will be cancelled due to the Orchid of Makoto. And that's a real shame, because you would have loved to get that kill. They won't have the opportunity. At least they did buy time for Alacrity to finish off that Aghanim Scepter, and he may need it now. Makoto is jumping in with the Yule, with the Ancient Remnant. It will all connect, and Makoto does manage to pick up Alacrity. Like it's FBZ who does get the kill confirmed, and now Nuts, the poor Shadow Demon, always getting caught in these positions, will have to go down. He will die with his brother. These ancient creeps are currently being more threatening than the actual side of RR to Boom. They dealt a lot of damage to Kescue there on the Disruptor, but he will survive.
You know, we were talking about what RR had to do. You were asking whether or not they had to wait for that Ags and the BKB. They've had them now. They have the Ags. They have the BKB. They're being killed with those items. RR has to make this investment work.
He tried to TP, and I believe Kescue got the glimpse off, and he did. Now they'll lose the troll. Have they found anyone else, FBZ? He's not chasing anyone, he's just going forward. He wants to go through the mid lane. The rest of the team says, no, we're going through bot. There is still a tier 2 tower outstanding. And unfortunately for Drew, it's been about 6-7 minutes since he's had that BKB. He hasn't used it once. It's still on a 10-second charge.
That always bugs me. When you see a hero that farms that BKB as the second priority or even third priority, and they don't use it in a very short time span after they pick it up, you start to question whether or not they should have gone for a farming item, because it does nothing for you when you're not fighting. And it is a bit of a wasted investment from RR. I would like to see them try to go aggressive again. They are kind of clumping up to make use of this Ags from Alacrity. This is the tendency for a lot of ODs. When they have that Ags, they start playing aggressive. It's just RR don't really have the space to play it. They don't have control on the map. And every single time they try, they always get the heroes they don't want to get. Like, it's either Hyde, which they kill off and Boom just back off, or they jump Mikado, who just escapes.
Would you agree as well that the initiation just doesn't seem to be there from RR? Because every time they rely on Hustler to get the charge off, it's always a void. Like either the Void Spirit, goes into his portals, or the Tusk snowballs, or something like that. And it just seems like they never really have the initiation for someone like KYX to follow up on. They may have their chance now. Boom have shown themselves. The other go after almost goes down to the Guardian will save, and now FBZ. He's been amazing kill. That storm will be dropped. BKB's finally caught by the top of Drew. Who are you going to hit? Sanity's is there. Nuts. He'll drop. They do lose Hustler as well. And the Spectre bring this off. That'll be a big one. That won't just be Aegis as the Alacrity does lose his life in KYXY. He's also gone. Hyde finally goes down on the Tusk. But it's only support kills here for the side of RR. And FBZ will leave the fight with an ultra kill on the Timbersaw. They just couldn't find anyone to hold down.
RR, if you notice, Drew was standing in the middle there. He BKB'd after being disarmed. So he was in the static storm, he got disarmed, he BKB'd after the fact, and he couldn't do anything. The first BKB charge, nothing happening for the troll. They bled a lot there. At the least for RR, they've still got the black hole under Enigma, so if they did want to group up, try to fight again, they're going to have that tool. But you've got a lot of stuff to worry about from Boom. You've got to catch a lot of heroes in that black hole to not be cancelled out. That's always going to be hard because Hyde is going to be standing back as much as possible. Kescue's going to be standing back as much as possible. You don't have any way of blocking those spell usages from Boom just yet. KYXY is saving up for the BKB. They don't lose as many objectives as you'd think. They only lose their melee racks down mid, so there is still a lot of room for RR to kind of play around, but they're 16k behind. You take a look at Dreamocell, is working towards that basher into the Abyssal first, so he wants to fight. He's got his level 20 talent, plus 500 HP. The Spectre is starting to look like a bit of a veritable tank, and every single point of damage you do to that Spectre will bounce back to you.
Not to mention, it makes it even harder for KYXY to get the black hole off. Like, he's trying to go for a BKB, but when you've got that Abyssal that's coming out on Dreamocell, I don't know if the BKB is going to matter anymore. In fact, that last team fight, we didn't even see the black hole come out. You almost start to wonder, would it be better to just have something like a blink, just so he could really sneak his way into the team fight and get a big black hole that he needs? Because when you don't see it come out, RR are just kind of struggling to actually lock anybody down. And that's the story of every single team fight we've seen so far. They just can't hit anybody because everybody's just too mobile.
That's something with KYXY that I'm kind of questioning. He saved up for Guardian Greaves, as you tend to see. I think this is actually a game where you could have stopped at the mech and saved up for your blink. I think you really just needed that for your team. Just don't have the hardest lockdown here to deal with Mikado, to deal with basically anyone. Like, you know, FBZ is going to be zipping in and out just fine. Mikado, we've seen multiple times. Nothing is keeping him in place. You just don't have the tools on RR side except for that blink black hole. So would have liked to actually see it earlier. At this state of the game though, I mean, he's already partway through to BKB. You might as well go all in and finish it, but you see that. Basher already up in Dreamer Cell, inching closer towards that Abyssal, so the value of that item pickup.
Yeah, that's a real concern.
Fading.
Yeah, Basher's on the courier, coming to Dreamer Cell now. And if you are Boom, like, you'll just happily wait for the full Abyssal. Dreamer Cell already the top of the network board. He's farming like a madman with that Radiance up and has the Mad Drop as well. Not to mention, Roshan will probably be up around the same time. You're very close to that Abyssal, if not already having it. So having the Abyssal plus the Aegis into the next team fight could bring this up. I don't see how could possibly fight into it.
No, they can't. They're gonna need to basically have the biggest black hole, like catching literally everyone on Boom for it to really work out, or at least 3 heroes. Get a 3-man black hole, then you might be able to find a couple of pickoffs that could work for RR. It's just so much riding on the back of KYX, right? And hitting a 3-man black hole without the blink, I'd wager is near impossible. You know, you're not gonna be allowed to just walk up and get that done, even with a BKB. So RR, their options are severely limited. I'd say, we were talking about the Roche timing. They need to get a ward out on Roche. They can't allow that objective to go for free. They do have ways of playing in that tight area. They've got the Santi's Eclipse and the Black Hole. Those are right there. Instead, they smoke up right now.
Okay.
Gonna try to find that pick off anyway.
Well, they might find Hyde. Hyde does get astral. Should be a nice easy kill. Don't get the slow ball off, but his team is rotating in actually high. He may just be bait right now. So he does go down, but they may not care for that chemistry. He's not his bond is disrupted, but Ricardo jumps in. It's a silent off and now you're being sent. The black hole is only corner support disruptor, and that is not going to be enough. They are starting to melt on the side of RR. The fireback's flying up, it doesn't matter. They can't get there in time, or maybe they can through. He's mad fighting everyone by himself, but it really doesn't matter. Sanity's dropped, but he had no stats. He did no damage. And that's the beauty of it. It's bad enough. They have seen enough, and I think we all have. They looked good at the start of the game. It looked like they were fighting the farm. It looked like they were fighting the momentum, but Boom just held, just farmed, and had faith in the Spectre to get there. Of course, Makoto was playing like a god on the Void Spirit, as he always does, and FBZ. I mean, what can I say about the man, John? He's a fantastic offlane player.
Searing chains.
Shadows, take us.
Sam. Не, я просто не понимаю, их паблик вот у кого угодно. Жили он, да. Ладно. Жили, появляется сразу.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Че, ранился?
We'll take that.
Ну еще не, потому что стал ранился. Где чем сейвить и давать да, он будет.
Radiant's bottom tower's still there, but not for long. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand. Radiant's bottom tower must have been dizzy.
Regeneration.
Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand. Illusion. Dire's top tower might be going down. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant called in the fortification. Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Хорошо хоть бы.
Dire is scanning for enemies.
Your titles mean nothing to me.
Dire's put the hurt on Radiant's middle tower. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is not. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
This pleases me to no end.
Radiant are scared. Does that even work?
Deployed.
Сейчас, собственно, ладно. Сделай. Я еще раз.
Killing spree!
Rest well. Your death has consequence.
Какую работу сейчас? Кого?
Allies disappear.
Раз, два, три. Дайте мне минуту.
Radiant fortified their structures. Pretty good move if you ask me. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
My thrift rewarded.
Nicely.
We'll take that.
Раз. Сделал. Слышно, раз, два, три.
Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand. Dire's top tower is about to be Radiant's top rubble. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Ну, я потестил, все отлично работает. Да нет, я здесь.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
You want I should keep punching him, boss? Your place is here.
Radiant's bottom barracks probably gonna die. Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Out of my way.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen. I hope they ain't throwing up. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. We'll be right Dire's middle tower's in trouble. Which one, Dire again? Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
У вас тоже все плохо. У вас тут все работает.
Then,
A tool to teach.
From such a high
Dominate! Double kill! Mega kill! Dominate!
My
Mega kill! Double kill! Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
thrift rewarded.
Не, нормально слышно? Какие-то там проблемы есть? Или... Давай я еще поговорю 5 минут. Короче, уже ЧОП установил Олег. Уже БМВ ворвался в Лекмод. Вот там, опять чуть не... Выбор видите. Нет, это то, что он пошел ебаться в другого человека, когда ему захватили. Ладно, спасибо большое за помощь, удачи.
Is it too much though?
10 seconds.
Because if be the Phoenix or Snapfire. There's no getting out of that. As long as he has smoke screen defusal, you're gone. The Phoenix as well, not the tankiest. Be the Phoenix or Snapfire. Do you cancel the Mortimer's Kisses, or do you go after the air?
Dire pick.
Maybe that's the concept that RR is going for here. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's what they're going for. As you mentioned, there are ways for Boom to kind of play around that. The Ricky is actually not constrained by the arena. I think he can blink out. So you're not going to be trapping this guy inside. Everyone else can kind of stay in. I think Tusk can actually snowball out as well.
Seconds.
So how much you can get from the Mortimer's Kisses in the arena is up in the air.
Seconds left.
if you land everything, if you get the initial control, like the key thing's not even landing off of those big spells, it's landing the spear. To get that spear onto the Ricky. Reality Rift, it feels like they've gotten a bit of corner here. Like they get the void, so it's looking a bit tighter in terms of the team fight, right? You don't actually need to worry about landing the spear anymore. You can miss the spear, have the void throw the chrono out. So a much more solid way of fixing that issue. But Mike, void into Oracle? If you don't catch that Oracle, you're getting disarmed.
It seems as though RR said, okay, last time we couldn't lock anybody down, let's make sure they can't get out. Like, Chrono, you're not getting out of that. You're stuck. Arena, most heroes won't be able to get out of it. Like, you made the argument, Tusk can do so, no problems. Ricky, I believe, can also Blink Strike out. But they are getting those combos to really make sure you are not going anywhere. Boom Esports, however, respond now with a Centaur War Runner. A very tanky target, never fun to play against if you are a void. You just really hit yourself when you hit the Centaur, and I don't know. Reality Rift, like, I love the team fight, but it feels like if it doesn't come together, they fall apart. Because Boom Esports, they have this kind of lineup where they're just going to get solo pickoffs every single time, and if you're missing a piece of the puzzle, if you're missing that Mars, if you're missing the Void or the Snapfire or the Phoenix, is it going to be as effective as if you have all of them? No, it's not going to be. And with a hero like Ricky that can pick them off so easily, I don't know. I question it.
I had a big question mark when the Void came out. Like, you mentioned great team fight with everyone else. The Chronosphere does stop everyone, but the key issue is that you're always going to actually have to capture the Oracle. Even if he doesn't get the disarm off, the false promise means you're not killing anyone inside that Chronosphere. There's still enough time for the Chrono to fade and that here to maybe get some damage out. Maybe the healing coming out from the Oracle is going to be too much. So Reality Rift actually, we tend to give a lot more leeway with a Void. We say, like, yeah, you just need to throw the Chronosphere every single time. In this case, you need to get those timings down, and you need to find Ricky plus Oracle. You need to catch that duo every single time. Oracle will sit at the back. We've seen that multiple times. Even if there's nothing like the Avenger to pull you out of the Chrono, you only really need Oracle outside to stop the utility of that spell. So Reality Rift need to play a really perfect game. The lane matchup for the Centaur and the Void does favor the Centaur as well. The Time Walk limits you. You mentioned that as well. You try to trade with Centaur, you're only hurting yourself. So those are things to watch out for Reality Rift. If they pick something up in the last pick that is tied into teamfight as well, I think that's just by draft. Boom Esports with a Centaur. You're talking about level 6 team fights, first Chronos coming out, stuff like that. They just press R on their Centaur and they run away.
It's a problem. Another thing with that Oracle, you pointed out the false promise, they also have the Fate's Edict. They have the disarm for the Void. That's always that's why Oracle's considered a complete counter towards the Void. False promise plus Fate's Edict, well, what the hell are you going to do?
Nothing.
Until you have that BKB, but even then, false promise. It's all good.
You know what would be really good in top? Pugna. Pugna last right now. Just, you have 3 targets you'd have to pick off there. Instead, Storm. We talked, right? Reality Rift doesn't have the stun. They have Spear. They have Cookie. Not reliable. Chronosphere is the best thing they have to keep that Storm in place. So now you have 3 heroes you still have to catch out. Oracle, Ricky, Storm. Catching all 3 is just nearly impossible for any good player, right? Any good team will spread those heroes out. The opportunity to get that perfect chrono is very slim. Now, if you do land it, you can kill all of them with the right setup. The puck kind of it gives you good control for the Storm at the very least, so you're going to be limiting his movement, the Ricky as well. It is still tied to a cooldown, so that is a weakness in this draft, but I think that's really the best choice you have. You banned out the DP to give yourself some push potential and some timings and a good silence. The only thing I can really see is, or DK. We tend to see the DK come out. You can get the stun off with Dragon Tail and your Dragon form at a decent distance, not instantaneous, but it will give you a little bit more reach. Those are the only two options I can see here for RR. They go with the DK instead. I mean, it's good push, it's better push, and you do get a little bit more stun from Dragon form to Dragon Tail. I would have preferred a Puck. I think the Storm has a lot of ways of playing that matchup. Maybe in the laning phase, you're going to be able to find that initial farm. But in the team fights, the control for Mikado is really just faces void. It has to be Drew's chrono every single time. I am going to be really keen to see how it plays around those cooldowns. They're going to have to play this one near perfectly to really pull that off.
Well, on the brighter side of everything, John, it should be a very entertaining game, right? A lot of big ultimates. These team fights should be quite explosive. So for us, we've got nothing to worry about. We've got a great game to watch. I'm not complaining about anyone's draft. I think they're fantastic. Overall, I think we can both agree Boom is a little bit scarier just based on the fact that you have to really find out who you need to prioritize in these team fights and make sure you catch them out. But if they can make that happen, Reality Rift could make it a spectacular victory.
Oh yeah. They just really need to not drop too much in lane. So that's one of the key things. Hit level 6 on all of these heroes. That's the hard thing. EXP distribution is just so hard to manage when you have such greedy supports. The Phoenix is pretty greedy, the Snapfire is pretty greedy, and your cores are pretty EXP dependent as well. So you've got to find a way to give all of these guys what they need. And if you can get that done, then the first chrono comes out, it starts rolling from there, right? But you need to ensure that you always ingrain it in your mind. Chrono up, Drew, fight now. That's it.
We should be going into this game too very, very soon. That hasn't seen the schedule yet, and we'll wait for the loading screen first before I go. So for anyone that hasn't seen the schedule, this series, we are also going to have Team Adroit versus GeekFan in the next series and the final series of the night. So that should be another pretty great series to watch between those two. And that is straight after this series is over. Of course, there is still a potential for 2 games in this series, this one and the next one, assuming RR can pull off a victory. But if they can't, then we'll be back pretty much within 20 minutes for the next series anyway. Just a heads up. By the way, John, betting odds are up, and it seems as though Boom Esports are still sitting as the favourites before the game even starts. Not too heavy of a favourite yet, but they are looking pretty good in terms of betting odds.
Yeah. Again, they did win game 1. They have been on a bit of a hot streak. So, wouldn't really blame it for having Boom as favorites. RR definitely having a lot more to prove here. It's really pivotal for them to just get that started. Like, you can, with the DK at the very least, once you get that Ags up, you do have a lot more potency in that Chronosphere, for example, if you're outside. The build-up is just kind of slow. You're going to have to prioritize that item very quick if you're playing around that sort of teamfight combination with the Chronosphere for the DK.
Right. Would it be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounty runes? A very even start as per usual. We did see in the last matchup, both teams were kind of just staying away from each other for the first 15 to 20 minutes or so. In fact, I believe by the 15-minute mark, we'd only seen about 5 or 6 kills. I imagine this time it should be a little more active between the two. You did talk about it a little bit, but RR are definitely going to want to try and get those spells on cooldown, especially once you have that Chrono, that Arena of Blood. You want to just start making rotations and see if you can set something up and get a little bit of an early snowball advantage for your team. So we shouldn't see as much of a passive game as game number 1.
For sure. Like, you take a look at how the lanes are going right now. They've only got FBZ all alone, so he's find something by himself. You've got the supports playing a lot more active down bot. You see Boom really trying to ensure that RR doesn't get anything from these lanes. They know what's up. They know the timings RR has to hit. They're not going to make it easy for RR to find that EXP and gold.
Yeah, Hustler, he'll go ahead and pull the creep wave away. Of course, he did get punished quite a bit by the task with Tag Team. And now he has to deal with Kezcute on the Oracle. Does go for the early level and Scatter Blast, which you do expect anyway. Should be able to fight back reasonably well up against Kezcute. Though I say that, Dreamosaur is starting to rotate over to Hustler, and you've got to be a bit careful as they do have that level 1 Fortunes in. Hustler will try and be as disruptive as possible. All the equilibrium so far is Boom's way, and they should gain a very early level advantage over the side of RR in this safe lane.
That they really should. I think the one thing about the Ricky though is that when it's at the creep wave, when it's at the tower, you don't tend to farm. Although with Hustler,
he's going very low, but he's actually being healed up by the Purifying Flames. They weren't quite able to finish the job. So First Blood will not be found yet. In fact, Hustler, he basically heals up to full HP thanks to those Purifying Flames and the Tango that was active, but they'll go again. Dreamosaur is there. He gets a shotgun to the face and also speared back. He could Blink Strike, but I don't think he could really kill.
Stopped you.
And he'll leave Hustler be for a little bit. And even the top lane, like we saw the Centaur falling very low while that was happening.
Yeah, just a lot of pressure. I think that's down to Nuts trying to really apply those fire spirits every time he has them off cooldown. FBZ hasn't been too phased by it, like he is still playing in the lane, but he has expended all his regen out. Nice batch from Drew as well.
There you go. Does go down. Drew, he had enough damage. Great band available, and that does give him that little bit of a bonus. And blood going to the void.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that 100% bash from the Faceless Void. Trade badly and bad. Although Drew, nice bash.
It's a very lucky bash. Did he just salve up?
That he did.
Ouch.
Just to get out. Just enough regen for him to back off. If he didn't have that last right click from Hyde might have been enough to clean him up. So I don't blame him for wasting that salve in that sense. He still has a full set of tangos, a nice amount of branches if he wants to go for the tree eating. So he's still going to be able to stay in this lane.
Well, Nuts will get caught out and is still level 1. He doesn't have the Icarus dive, and that'll be a very easy kill. That's the thing with the Hyde Tusk, he's pretty much always on point with the shards. So if you catch it like that, you are really kind of screwed over. As Makoto mid lane does also go down. Alacrity and Hustler will really work together. It looks like it was a cookie coming out from the Snapfire to set up to the storm.
It's these rotations that RR will need. You take a look at the state of that mid lane. Before that happened, Mikado just had way too much of a good time. Like, the DK's not dropping low or dying, but he's definitely not stopping that initial farm that Mikado is getting, and we have seen what he can do on the Storm when he gets a good start. He can find so much more on the map later on.
Yeah, just continue to try and slow down Alacrity the best you possibly can. Yeah, there's just nothing stopping him. Like, he'll just static remnant every single time he needs to. One of the lovely things about the Storm as well is you don't really mind pushing the creep wave into the T1 tower, because with those static remnants, it's just so easy to farm lethal camps. But we'll see more damage coming out on Alacrity. Sure, he'll heal all that up with Dragon Blood, but the creep wave gets pushed out, and he will go into the jungle.
Just makes it really easy for Mikado. You aren't seeing too many wards to watch this movement, and of course, the supports are kind of tied up. Hustler did that rotation earlier on, but is kind of tied down. Like, he needs to help KYXY, who is still disrupting the farm of Dreamocell, and he's a Ricky at 23 to 10, but you're not having the freest time for the Morris. You're not finding those kill ops you'd want with, you know, a Soul Ring up. You'd want to land those spears, try to get the cookie follow-up, burst down to Ricky while he's soft. Just not able to do so just yet.
FBZ getting chased down right now by Drew and Nuts, but there will be a rotation. Makoto, he cleans up Nuts, and that is a lot of time wasted for Drew. Currently has a creep wave underneath his T1 tower. They really wanted that Centaur kill, but Makoto just realizing he could afford to jump in and snipe the Phoenix and save his Centaur.
Yeah, just a lovely pick off there. You do see some commitment down bot from RR to try to go on to Dreamocell. Is forced to south, but otherwise the combination kicking in from RR not quite enough to find that Ricky. You do have Kezcute around anyway to try to heal him up and bail him out. So the damage from RR kind of lacking for at this moment, at the very least.
And you are about to hit that level 4 mark where you'll have the Fate's Edict and you can really efficiently heal up this Ricky every single time. Kezcute should have it with one more creep.
Not feeling the love.
Looking back over the mid lane, Alacrity, he has popped the Dragon Fall and has actually forced the tier 1 tower in quite a bit. Dakota is going to be quite aggressive trying to force him back. Really wants to get that siege creep down and it will finally drop. Back high now will rotate as well on the Tusk. I don't believe they'll have the kill potential anyway, but they do protect the one, which is really all they want. But I say that Alacrity is just coming in with a full creep wave and he's just taking all the damage. Just using those last seconds of the Dragon Blood before the Dragon Blood before it does wear off.
Yeah, I like seeing that coming out from Alacrity.
Loud John.
Oh, yeah, am I? Huh.
Well, you are now. Just when you first come in, you just sound down as hell. Anyway, bot lane, KYXY does end up going down. Kezcute finds a kill on the Oracle. And I apologize for interrupting, Don. It's just kind of like, you just kind of blasted my ear just there.
Yeah, no problem. My sound card's acting up a bit. Really old thing. Anyway, I like seeing that from Alacrity. Just maximizing that first Dragon form. Very key to take out that mid tier 1, mainly because it will take a lot away from Mikado. You know, he's not going to have safe access to his jungle anymore once you take that out.
Double damage.
Bot lane, they do end up finding that Snapfire, but Alacrity now going to get jumped. Tag team is there from behind. Alacrity is so tanky, now KYXY rotates in. He isn't level 6, but it's not really necessary, or maybe it is Kezcute. He's trying to heal up the snowball, will save for now. Kezcute just going to wait around, but he does go down at the end, as Hyde will now try to run the best he can. And a spear perfectly connects from KYXY. They do pick up both supports, and if you really want to, with that Dragon form up, you can continue trying to force him to T1, but Alacrity, underneath the T1 tower, they'll rotate nuts down the Phoenix, and they really do want to just prioritize his tower.
Very low.
Dream's going to come in, the tower's already down. I'm not sure if this is the fight. KYXY, he's going to stand his ground up against Makota, but eventually should die, but no, his Dick charges up, but Purifying Flames will just take him out. But I think RR still wins that outright, because you take the T1 tower and you force 4 heroes to rotate mid and really only just find 1 Mars pickoff.
Definitely. It's still something RR is going to be very happy with. Like, that mid-tier 1 is what they want. So Mikado's going to have a bit of a harder time having safe farm in his jungle camps. But they still find at least a kill, like a consolation prize for Boom. They did throw Dreamocell up very early on. So he's not farming in his lane, which is probably a good thing as RR is setting up for the bot tier 1 push now as well.
Oh, Alacrity going to get surrounded, however. They know he's farming there somewhere in order to make the jump. Fortune's in, tag team, they should have the damage, but again, KYXY is there. But you still don't have that level 6 on the Mars, and Alacrity, he won't get the cookie off in time from Hustler, and with that KYXY, he may also go down. You'll see Nuts come in, but he's only level 3 on the Phoenix. And the snowball will connect. He does lose his life as KYXY misses a spear, and that should mean his life is forfeit as well as FBZ. Going for the Stampede, they want absolutely everybody. They will not get Hustler, but who cares about the support Snapfire? You found so much more.
You found all of those kills, and right before the 10-minute mark, Dreamocell and Hyde took the outpost. They got all the X from both outposts as well. That fight. Is captured, they cop some damage, they get the EXP in the end. A big win for Boom, that little trade. 2K advantage of goal, and setting themselves up quite nicely in terms of EXP. It's a massive issue. They need on all their heroes, on their Mars, on their Phoenix. Just not quite there yet.
They committed most level. What was Never mind. High through the shot, only storm. Nevertheless, down, Snowball now comes up, but he should die.
Oh yeah. Just not much to do there. They did finally throw out that first chrono. I believe that's Drew's first chrono of the game. They find the biggest target they could. So you are kind of keeping Mikado in check. That's definitely what you want to see. You are seeing the power of that combination if you do land Chronosphere out with your Snapfire around it. The kisses makes easy work with any hero. A lot of potential there are. They will need to play around that. Like you will see them constantly pump out and continue keeping on that potential.
We do also finally see KYX at 6. And that's going to be pretty important. Compared to offlaners though, he's sitting at level 8. About to hit that level 5 mark, currently 14 in the top lane. He does his hook defiance and is moving forward. No, it's not that stuff, so he should be okay. The dream is not in the exact right spot. And it's just fantastic and prediction coming out from Dreamer's spot. And they are able to in fact, they think that they pull out their Dota, the Carnival isn't off cooldown. As long as they're trying to run away, but it doesn't matter. Still trying to fight, but he's going to get that far now. He's into the team fight. He's taking, he's not that he goes from outside fight, then he will be the 4th spot in fight.
4 heroes off the bat. RR. He tried to jump first, but with that chrono, we talked about the jump because you cannot hope to do with the chrono here. He's just going to have free reign to jump in and out. That gave him massive opportunity from Boom to just immediately go for the kills after getting the top tower. Now they're rotating around up once more. Level 5 Phoenix.
Fortune's a bit too late. Could they turn this? No. They thought about throwing the spear out, but didn't really free match onto. Again, a 4K net worth 13.5 minutes boom. They are looking great.
Dire's bottom tower's getting pushed around.
Graph, that's what it looks like. Just not able to really get so much of a lead. They have a slight around that top 10 up. So anticipated now. Maybe they find Makoto, but I don't know. Around with Chrono, but he's down playing, trying to finish off his play. Well, he'll spot FZ, I don't think that's the part he wants to see. Still lucky bash for the really needs to back. He's quite low. If you get a couple more pushes, maybe you can get Chrono. Well, he has heroes rotating in. And when is up, and one of this is also up. You don't have stand PC that PC. Drew, where's the chrono? It was forward. They pop up from the Phoenix. Needs to back the hell up immediately. Larry is getting surrounded. Somehow FBC survived all of this, and Larry now could be picked away. Sporting then does connect him with Chrono. He's afraid that nothing of the Chrono is down. Cookie misses. It's on 2. Drew trying to run with that top to 5. I think it's tough to leave, and what a shot.
Double kill.
An art from death.
That is terrible news for the RR fans out there.
They FBZ is not the target to go for. And so they are trying to play around one find a kills, but you don't opt to turn target if you can't finish off. Then
the 3 heroes chasing down. Yes, says like I'm done. It's always super motivating when it takes 3 heroes, 2 of those being called.
Sure. You have to expend a lot to get that kill. RR blew pretty much all of their ults, except for Egg. So, not Still Hat's Egg, you don't have Chrono. You will have Kisses up in around 20 seconds, so there is an opportunity there. And you do have Arena up in KYXY. So there is some ways to counterplay now, but Boom knows without a Chrono, they have leeway to just farm up however they want. I mean, you have to be a bit cautious on, like, Dreamo Cell. But Mikato has free reign while this is done, and Boom are in a position to just take their time. Just warm up, no pressure.
Oh, Drew, he just time walk. He could be in big trouble, but they'll go up. The Phoenix nuts, drops a sentry ward. He's gonna die. Drew needs to get out immediately, and he does. He time walks away. He'll be fine. The Dream itself with that diffusal blade up is going to be a real menace now for RR. We really don't have escape mechanisms for the smokescreen diffusal. In fact, mid lane, I believe it was. No, in fact it was top lane. Hustler getting caught out by Makoto on the storm. Nobody's safe on the map for RR. Absolutely nobody.
It really is. Yeah, right. There's just no place to be that you can safely feel like you can just farm up. You have an Invis Ricky walking around with so much space. You have Mikado who can just dive in. You've got even Hyde is kind of mobile with that snowball. So there's a lot to be cautious about here for RR. They do have the Chrono up. So this is the moment for them to try to take a fight. Drew should be joining his team to go for a defense or trying to make a move. Does wait for his defusal, so he's going to have a bit more damage in that Chrono.
You've also got the Bloodstone now up from Makoto. So he's going to have plenty more sustain, as well as that active, which, you know, after a Chrono can be very, very effective to just heal you back up substantially and essentially allow you to reset and get back into the team fight if they don't kill you off. We'll see. Boom, they may wish to get more aggressive as that Bloodstone is now available. On top of that, FBZ has got the pipe as well as a Vanguard. I don't know if he really wants to finish off the Crimson Guard yet, because perhaps they're not really afraid of the damage coming out of RR at the moment. He may opt to go for the Blink, and it looks like he is. But FBZ's farm on the Centaur is also extremely scary. Like, he is a knockback and target. In fact, they do jump the Ricky, but there's the Fate Edict. We talked about this. You have to get the Oracle first. Drew, he's been caught out in that spring screen. Now attacking the Warrior. Makoto, he'll jump in with the Vortex. He does grab the point that's not quick enough. He kind of walks away. Now the X-Stun's going to be there on Makoto. He does go down. That is a huge kill for RR. Green Assault blinks out of there, but he's been swept by the defusal of Drew. Cookie, not going to stun anybody. Sentries everywhere for Dream Assault, but they're just going to settle on Hyde. The smoke screen too annoying. Always punch tag team. If Drew should be able to get this kill eventually, but no. Snowball away. Hyde is on the Great Escape. He had the TP scroll, but can he juke them out well? Hustler's gonna find it. There's no way out of this. He tries to charge block himself. But RR, I thought it was a terrible start after that Chrono committal on a solo Ricky without the Oracle. Turns out there was a bit of a misplay from Makoto. He got stunned up by the DK and then followed up by the Phoenix Egg, and that was enough.
Yeah, a lot more going to way of RR. It's still not the ideal fight. In fact, they're losing Hutzler.
Yeah, Makoto will get himself a nice Bloodstone charge after losing a few. Smokes immediately after that creep wave, and they want revenge, and they want it now. They still know they are way ahead of RR. Without Chrono Arena and Dragonform, and even Ed, there's just no way you fight into the side of Boom. Problem is, nobody from RR is really showing on the map. So you are going to have to venture pretty deep into the dire side to try and find out where these heroes are, and they will just hold in their base.
I like the patience here from RR. They understand that they would be hunted down at this moment, right when they don't have the Chrono up. They just need to wait about half a minute, then it's going to be back up, then they can try again. If they keep getting these combinations off and force Boom to kind of split their focus like that, they aren't quite equipped to really deal with the Egg just yet, although they might be giving a Roshan away.
Double damage!
Can you fight? Like, you've got Arena back up. Chrono's 10 seconds away. They may have time if they can extend the team fight, but they need to go right now. They don't have vision, however. It looks like they're just not aware. They'll scan it out, but it's too late. Boom will pick it up.
Him and that agent.
Stupendous!
I never messed up that bad.
Smoke is still there, so they could try to go for a team fight and just ignore Makoto. They'll see a target they hate looking at, which is FBZ on the Centaur, and FBZ just running forward, he doesn't care. KYXY gets a nice spear off, Dragon Ball being popped, and they want to jump on that Oracle. Kiss is flying in, egg to be popped immediately, and with that Oracle dead, they can't afford to cut into this, I don't think, but now the egg is over. FBZ, he's been left behind. He's a very, very tanky boy. KYXY, Marina of Blood, and now Greenosaur jumps from the Phoenix. They do find one. Snowball on to the boy Drew. He's falling low. Can they actually take him out, however? Warrior's Punch won't be enough. Greenosaur now getting Chrono up through. He's a high priority target, but they're losing. Looking really good. A very nice spear on Makoto, pushing him out of the team fight. And now FCZ, he's been left alone, and he's gonna die. And RR against all odds, are winning these team fights. They did not aim Makoto, they completely ignored him, and he still has the Aegis, but it means nothing if you can't use it.
Yeah, they're making the most out of all of these spells they have. They did get the big target there. They found the Oracle first. That set the pace for them. Boom just relies so much on the threat and presence of Chesky that when he drops like that, you are losing out in these exchanges. You're not going to have any way of really making Drew double think about dropping that Chronosphere. You're not going to have a way of saving your Storm, saving your Ricky. And that leaves Boom very vulnerable. This does give a lot more to Reality Rift. They are still playing 8k behind, but you are starting to see all of the things they want to come together. They're playing around their cooldowns quite well. Drew has been pretty on point, at the very least, with the follow-ups on Chrono, like just tossing it out to the Ricky when that Oracle's gone is pretty much enough. I think the issue for Boom was that they were trying to force it in, even though they were fighting from the low ground. So they're forcing a very odd fight to begin with, and that's something Boom has to avoid. If they give RR the space and the position advantage like that, then these spells will wreak havoc. They lose their Oracle straight up, everything else will fall apart.
Well, Boom, they still hold an 8k net worth lead. Like, it's not really budging at all. It went down by about 1 or 2k in that team fight, but that's really not that much. But if they can do that a couple more times, Makoto jumping onto Drew, who is stopping, connects and cancels the TP. It's always very scary when you hear that ball lightning coming from a mile away as you're TPing. And I believe the Static Remnant gave enough vision for FBZ to get the stun off. And with that, the tier 2 bot tower will be lost.
That's the last outer tower for RR as well. So once they lose that, the map is going to be a bit harder to go around. That will allow Boom to really just apply that pressure and really start hunting a lot more. They should take care of these wards though. RR does have some pretty fantastic wards to watch movement out. That means they're not going to find anything from this smoke.
Yeah, nice TP up. KYXY, he's sticking around. He does have a Blink TP available if he just wants to blink deeper into the trees. He won't need it. Just TP straight out of there. Again, they just hold in their base. All ultimates are available for RR, so we'll smoke up again.
That was under ward.
Uh-oh.
Boom is completely aware, although they could still get caught out. We've seen this happen before.
Wait, FBZ. He's frontlining, he'll break the smoke, trying to bait them in. We've seen this one before. KYXY misses the initial spear, Makoto. He does get stunned. This could be a big bad look. Can he get the Chrono off in time? Not quite. They will not get it off. Now FBZ runs straight onto that Snapfire. Arena will be dropped. Does catch a few at the end. Here's also then Makoto trying to focus it, but they caught him up with the stun. The Aegis will expire. Now a very nice Chrono, but he's locked in his own team as well. Hyde with a nice shot. Makoto still trying to zip around, but it looks like Boom have no business in this team fight. They need to get out. Hyde, he will get speared into a tree, and he will be the secondary to die. And so RR, although again we see a couple misplays, they still win out in the team fight, only losing the Snapfire themselves. They also claim the Aegis on top of that Ricky Tusk.
Really big exchange there for RR. Boom is starting to have some issues. Every single time the team fight starts to break out, they're not quite sure where to put that focus. They don't focus down the egg, although, Drew?
Yeah, Drew, you can't. But just because they win these team fights doesn't mean that they're completely safe. They still have no map control. We talked about in the draft phase, Boom Esports, they have great single pick-off potential.
They're gonna have better team fight now as well. Mikado finishing up the Ags on the Storm.
Ouch.
They have way bigger AoE control. That's something they were kind of on FBZ.
Oh, the mini black hole is here from the Storm, and that's a concern. That is a real big concern. If you are Boom right now, you know the ultimates are down, you definitely want to try for another pick-off. Nuts. Gonna get caught, Dreamer Soul will pick up that kill on the Phoenix. Only issue for Boom, I'd say, is that they don't have a creep wave pushed in, so they can't really capitalize off these ultimates being down.
That's going to be really fortunate for RR. Don't have to worry about it too much. By the time that creep wave comes in, you could see the chrono being very close. It's just about a minute off, although.
Yeah, but go onto the Mars. Yeah, KY's way. He dropped the arena, but FPT doesn't care about it. Fortune's in. Nobody can be there to help out KYXY. He just dies. Keskip, don't want to pick up the kill on the Oracle. That's always nice as a support.
It's the damage. Those Purifying Flames just eats right through that Mars. You really have to be careful here as RR. Like, again, they are finding these combinations in the fights, but...
Bot lane, north face down. It is going to be the Void Drew.
On the dotted line.
They just dip out a bit too much. Even right at ramp, that's a dangerous spot all by yourself as the faceless Void. Get punished.
They finally checked for the base ward. They do get it, but it got so much value for Boom. Like,
it spotted that smoke way earlier on. That was pretty much it. That was enough. It told them, it gave them that Drew kill as well because they knew no one was really close enough to bail them out. They've just gotten so much value. Deward it now, sure, that's fine. They've already gotten the most out of it, and Boom looks to be pretty much set to once more set the pace of the game. You look to RR though. Chronosphere will be back up when Drew is up. They have the egg, they have the arena, they have the kisses. We could see that big team fight break out once more, and Boom, they haven't been respecting tower path.
oh, Makoto. Cookie is going to be there, only pushing KYXY forward. Won't lead to anything anyway. You do have all ultimates up apart from the Dragon Form right now. So they may just wait 40 seconds for that Dragon Form before they try to go for another team fight on the side of RR. Or perhaps you just wait for the high ground push coming out from Boom, but I do believe Boom will probably just wait for the next Roshan. In fact, it is up in about an hour, a minute and 40 seconds, not an hour. That would be a little bit too long. In fact, never mind, they won't. They smoke up, smoke will be broken. Ping's coming out immediately.
That was from the low ground in the camp. They dust up, but Drew was nowhere there. So they're just kind of stuck.
Scanning. How does that even work?
This is really awkward.
They know.
Oh, they definitely know. And FBZ gets started on KYXY, trying to bait them in again. Here comes the Dragon Form from Alacrity. Dreamer Soul put the smoke screen down. They don't want to aim the centaur. They know this. They've learned from their past two mistakes. And Alacrity will go on to hide instead. The Tusk is even quite a tanky target. He'll snowball up and go into the neutrals. Meanwhile, Drew is standing and pretending he's a tree, just waiting for the right moment. But Boom Esports do not group up, they don't show themselves, they wait. And neither one really commits.
A lot of restraint from both teams. RR knowing that, you know, the Centaur is really not the target to go for. And Boom this time, not clumping up. We've seen them make that mistake multiple times, coalescing into where RR is, getting punished severely. After two fights of that, they are just playing the patient game. So they're not going to be rushing in head first. They know they have the potential for their solo pickoffs. They've killed Drew alone a couple of times. That's probably what they're going to be looking for, or waiting for at least one of the spells to be blown first. Either the egg or the Chronosphere gone first, and then that's when Boom will make their move. So until then, the pressure is on RR to actually use these spells. Like, they're sitting up there, they're not using it, they're not finding kills, which means that they're not finding a way back in to narrow that net worth lead Boom has to try to take control back in the map. This still does favor Boom.
They have an opportunity with those ultimates now though. The Roshan is going to be taken. Problem is they don't have wards around the Roshan pit because they haven't been able to leave the base. And so unless you scan right now, you're going to have no clue this is happening. And as of now, it's too late anyway. They can't break the gap between themselves and the Roche pit. So another Roshan will go the way of Boom ESPORTS. Cheese and Aegis this time around. The Cheese, of course, will go to Ricky, I believe, and yeah, brings himself, picks it up for himself. In that time, RR do at least get a BKB up on Alacrity, so he won't be quite as affected by the storm. Also got a Magic Style up on Drew, so a bit more damage for him. And they may go for a fight. They spun out FBZ. Alacrity does have the blink to initiate for his team.
FBC has a heart now. That's not a target you'll ever want to go for in any case. Like, hard on scent, 32 minutes in, going for the Ags next. So once that Ags is up, would be and take. I think it's going to be super useful for the high ground. They're not going to be constrained by that ramp. You have the BKB on Mikado, so you can't even rely on that Dragon Tail anymore for the stun. And the cookie. It has to be the Chronosphere.
Whoa, what'd I miss? Over here!
It is on the courier. Boom and smoked up as 4. They can just zip across the map, so they don't need him to smoke up. He'll happily show himself at the bot lane. Boom, however, aren't going to really find anybody they really want to go for. Unless it's Drew. And Drew, again on the stairs, this time he does try and walk away, and Makoto does not get the vortex off. Not in time anyway. But look at FPC. He's using Retaliate to push in that T3 tower, and he's out healing the tower damage. And apparently Drew does no damage to it. They jump in down Makoto, and nice vortex. Arena on block, will be dropping. Drew is dead. He doesn't have that goal. The Phoenix Egg will at least be able to tick all the way out, and perhaps you find Makoto, but that is early in Aegis. Can you find him a second time? Not with that big waterfall. Makoto, he found 3 of them. They will order another them right back as well. The KYX line, he's falling way too quick. He's dead. Now they'll go onto Alacrity. The BK also going to go down. He tries to fight the best he can, but he doesn't have buyback either. And then the diving tier 4, bringing us on ultra with a rampage. They won't get it yet. Come on, Boom, give him the rampage. GG's been called. KO's like, no, he will stun. Will the game end? Smoke screen with the pages there. Bring us on, will steal it before the game is over. KO's like trying to rule Christmas to bring the cell. He will not get away with it. There is no Grinches in this game too. And that'll be it for this series, John. Boom.